Soviets and Soviets of the Red Army. How you all doing? This is Con Ulrich.
This ring low, low, low.
And folks, we are actually going to go upgrading over here to Division 2 semi-final action this time. We're on two ways. Rang, who do we have?
Well, on the left-hand side in the blue, we have Fantyx playing as the 5th French Tank Division. On the right-hand side in red, we have Matrin playing the 4th East German Modchuchen Division.
So, I mean, 5 versus 4. Technically, the French should win this, of course. But at the same time, this is actually the first time we've been able to feature the blinde of this particular era. Of course, we used to see blinde all the time. But blinde in this era, you know, if I had the TLDR overall, you would tell me basically what? Efficiency.
Just
Yeah.
cost-effective tanks. Good, cheap tanks. They're just cost-effective. But in this sort of matchup here, it should be quite interesting, as 4th also has a lot of cost-effective tanks. And of course, with all the Fallschirmjägers and advanced deployment, we're seeing Matrin is getting into the front line much faster with those rather deadly SPG-9s.
Curious thing about a lot of Eastern Alliance play that we've seen as the eclairs over here are kind of find themselves getting obliterated. I feel like most Eastern Alliance players open up with actually some sort of fighter presence overall. And I'm trying to kind of put my finger on why that might be. Because most Soviet kind of openings don't require that kind of firepower. So I'm still quite curious about that.
People are usually opening up with planes in general, just mainly to stop any helicopter cheese off the bat. And also to deter the other people bringing up planes to stop their own helicopter cheese. So it's really just like an opening arms race. And speaking of arms race, we're seeing Matrin getting into Charlie here, getting those Fallschirmjägers with the ATGM in a very good position. And yeah, overall Matrin has just taken some very, very good positions so far.
Well, that's the thing too. So on Tuesday we saw Vertigo, of course, minorly symmetric, let's call it, between everything. Not so much the case here over on two ways. You have 7 points, which means that you're somebody, some way, should be able to get a points advantage in terms of just raw territory.
Yeah, and that usually comes down to the all lucrative Charlie sector here, which is pretty much under Matrin's control, and he's already pushing into his opponent's Delta sector with those Fallschirmjägers, getting that vital foothold into the town. So if he can keep up that pressure, I mean, Modchuchen Division, spoiler alert, has really good Modchuchen.
Yeah, that's nice to say. Nice to know that that's what's on the tin. Every now and again, when you look at an infantry section or you look at like some sort of division, you're like, wait a second, this shouldn't be what I'm supposed to be getting. The list of ingredients, it's like that 13th or 14th thing down here. But no, you're right. Modchuchen, it's what's on the tin. It's what's good for you, and it's what wins a lot of games.
Yeah. And also, speaking of winning games, this is game 5 of the semi-finals, so both players have just been through an absolute slugfest of matches. So the winner here ends up going to the finals for Division 2, so there's definitely a lot on the line.
Indeed. Indeed. So first CP has already come out. Command has gone and been taken up here by the BTR. Getting matched here pretty soon by that P4 PC. Oh, excuse me. Being matched by the other P4 PC. I was looking at the northern one, looking at the one out here at west. I guess the interesting question will be, is Delta going to be the hotbed of activity? Because I feel like right now Matrin is just trying to go and be as frisky as possible, let's call it.
I think that's definitely the best call for him, because if he puts a lot of pressure onto Delta and forces Fantyx to really compete in this zone, that means he's not having to compete as much in Charlie. And let's say worst case, he loses Delta, who cares? You can still fall back in Charlie, you got good defenses and Echo. He can really afford to, push his point. And it also works well for him geographically, because it's a very infantry-heavy zone. To be fair, the Brent's Tank Division does have some pretty damn good infantry.
It certainly does. Now, I'm going to see a little bit of recon down here, down south from the Alouette. I guess, Trois. My French is not what it should be, I'm sure. Regardless, though, the Alouette, it's recon for a reason. You don't really get a whole lot out of this. Though I will say, it feels like, and feel free to correct me if I'm wrong on this, the French recon is, well, really rather good with the AMX for example.
Yeah, the AMX-10, of course, has been the absolute bane of really anyone going back to War Game Red Dragon. That thing will just blap your tanks and you won't even know what hit you.
Mirage, in the meantime, just absolutely comes in and obliterates
And he gets
the
obliterated.
Mi-24. Yeah, I know. Maybe that success was just a Mirage. Because he goes down in a flame of glory.
Indeed.
Well, I'm looking around here in the meantime, too. T-55's up north. Mi-2's being thrown around. Just a little bit of recon here and there. Both sides, I feel like they're really trying to like take each other's measure, except here over here in Charlie. Like some Grenadier Voltigieros, SSF heroes being kind of slipped into the trees. Unfortunately for them, that AMX-30, while it is good, taking a quick look again at that armor, 11 up front, 432 otherwise, that is not exactly a main battle tank. That's a taxi with a big gun.
Yeah, just don't get hit. It's really the French's motto here. Make sure your tanks don't get hit by the other tanks. So to be fair, he's really only having to fight up against T-55s. So it's a pretty good matchup, and of course the French do have fantastic fire support in their tanks, as they all have 20mm cannons. It's not bad. As a coat of an autocannon card holder, I'm very happy in my tanks of autocannons.
True. Delta, in the meantime, by the way, does go over here to the French. As does this Alpha up here? Foxtrot, excuse me. Right, we'll go the other way around with this one.
Yeah.
Sometimes the naming of these command points does not make a lot of immediate sense. Anti-air getting taken out in the south as well. I know this Concours over here. These things are really, really good.
Yeah. They're set up in a very good position, especially up north. Yeah, it seems like Fantyx is just slowly taking his time. He's just grinding out Matrin down south, and he's pretty much going to get Delta under his control here. He has enough infantry to route out the last few Red 4 troops in there. So I think he's just going to try to clear out Delta, consolidate. I mean, he's getting the point share, which is really the important part. And then probably just, you know, the classic grind for Charlie. And he has a pretty good strike force in that forest to make it happen.
Yes, he has a strike force, but I don't know if I would feel particularly sanguine until I get rid of all those pioneers, for example, because those guys over there are still, well, they're quite scary.
Yeah, they're holding on quite well there. Flamin' Rurfer. But I think his Grenadiers will just have enough firepower to beat them up. We've seen actually Matrin getting some T-55s down south, actually more of a defensive call out, yeah, to zone out the area, and the Strela just absolutely blapping at Alouette.
Yeah, but the Alouette, though, over here is just going to be, that's recon, so.
Sure, the missile coming towards him.
That's good to know. It's like it's kind of bad if you don't see the thing that ends up taking you out, but nice to know that he saw the missile that killed him. MiG-21 in the meantime, he's going to obliterate the Superiors, and he's going to do Voltigieros over here, dropping 1,000 kilos of high explosive, and actually did nothing.
Wow,
Jeez.
He had one job, yeah, MiG-21, especially in a, you know, it's a nice time period for him, with no anti-air currently on the map. I mean, you know there's going to be more Roland Freeze being rolled on out to deter further attacks.
Actually, I do like the fact that these couple of Motschützen behind the lines, they're not going to get a ton of kills, but they're going to be interdiction, which I think is more than enough in terms of what the Germans need right now, the East Germans. So yeah. It's an interesting call-in. Well, interesting positioning, not interesting call-in, excuse me.
Yeah, it's a map where you can definitely do some very sneaky, cheesy infantry plays, as there's a whole lot of forest for you to run around in. So if he can, you know, just both sides really, just spread out a few RPG troops back and forth through the forest just to cause a bit of havoc in the rear, you can do a whole lot of damage.
Kind of like these Voltigieros Grenadiers over here. They're going to slip behind. You're going to see that pack 100 mil. He's probably going to take out the AMX, but thank you very much for taking out a single... Ooh, never mind.
Come down to his Mi-24, but he's going to fly right over the infantry, but it's the second Mi-24 coming in hot, Soviet-Afghan gun, you know, gun run style here. And well, Fantyx, his infantry push has just been shut down already, because, you know, helicopter rockets are really bloody good.
Yes, they are. And I think he's going to be picking up Charlie over here in the meantime, which is good because I was wondering when the heck he's going to pick up his third position as well as Charlie. Mirage, Mirage getting really aggressive with this. I don't know. Okay, he mixed it out. But he's pretty banged up. Oh no, he's moderately banged up. But Matrin behind Delta, just kind of chilling. Matrin over here otherwise, hanging on out. And I don't know. Yep, these Superior Flemons are not going to be anywhere close to them.
Oh. He's just going to be chilling. We're also finally seeing Matrin get that final CV up in Orphan Alpha, so he should be getting a +4 advantage very soon. And that can... oh, +3, my bad. I cannot do math, apparently. But either way, that's a pretty huge point advantage. And Fantyx, I mean, he's been playing very slow and steady. Honestly, it feels like he's a little bit aimless right now and where he wants to push. But I think is really going to force him to kick it into high gear and try to push somewhere.
Kind of a necessary thing when you think about it. In the meantime, AT behind engaging the AMX.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, I do too. Unfortunately for him, the Mirage actually should... ooh, Mirage doesn't take him out. Interesting.
Oh.
Well, the funny thing here too is that the Mi-24AA is not going to go and be able to successfully engage. That's nothing going on there. Which is a shame, because had he been able to get off one missile, just one, he might have been able to actually get a very, very valuable kill.
This is also a pretty good map for helicopters as machine as well, because of all that dead space with the forests all over the bloody places. You actually have some decent room to maneuver your helicopters, unless your opponent brings in a lot of man pads.
Which is entirely possible, and in some cases very, very likely. French, in the meantime, are going to start to try to squeeze Charlie. You see a lot of Superiors being brought on in. And, check it back over here in terms of firepower from a distance. Matrin's got some choices here. I'm surprised he's not really being a little more aggressive with them.
Yes, he does. We do see that AMX off run from Fantyx, so, and he's going to start using that to pound a southern position. I think he's just going to try to hit that flying Mi-2, which will in turn also hit those T-55s. But yeah, actually, Fantyx is investing quite a bit up north here, some more AMX-30s, more infantry VFEs. But he needs to, I mean, he still has the point lead right now, but I think he really needs to just try to play a bit more heavy into Charlie and at least neutralize the point.
That might be the case, but his AMX is still apparently quite able to take out the T-55s, so...
yes.
Cannot hate that too much. Looking otherwise, Mi-24, the AT-2 being brought into the southern side. Yeah, the Falangas, not for nothing, but I feel the Falangas are a little bit underperforming in my mind right now.
Yeah, they're very crap. I mean, it's really just the, compared to the Koken, like the proper flying missile, the Flanger is really just the threat of an anti-tank missile, not the actual implementation. If you manage to hit something with a Flanger, you should, like, give your bloody Mi-24 pilot a hero of the Soviet Union.
In the meantime, AMX-10, AMX-30 down south. Jeez. One thing about the Matrin over here is that I feel like some of their anti-tank is also a little bit kind of short range, especially on the recon troops. Unfortunately, the RPG-18s that they've got, not quite as effective as they need them to be. Raj coming back in another time, getting engaged another time, and finally getting brought down this time.
Yeah, and the MiG-21 does get the bombs off, so a little bit inaccurate. Yeah, it didn't really do much damage either, but he will be able to get out of the point. And we're also seeing Fantyx actually probe a little bit down south. It'd be curious to see how much he invests, because he could push into Echo, but it's also a pretty far distance to his route. That can be a very risky maneuver to do. Yo, at the same time, down south, especially the far south, is pretty lackluster in terms of actual unit shift.
Yeah, but I think it's because, to a certain extent, you can hold over here with Echo, throwing down one unit or two to the western edge of Echo, maybe one to the southern, southwestern edge of Echo. He's at the multi-soft Claire down there too. So, infantry moving through, there's going to be a heads up. One thing that actually I think is more confusing me is his use of packs so far have been, well, they've sucked. He's
Oh,
only
the
got,
anti-tank guns?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you sneeze in their direction and they blow up. That's for sure. But it's still like it's a little bit underwhelming to say the least.
Oh. We're just seeing that, constant little probing here from Fantyx into Charlie, moving his sappers along the southern tree line, which is very important for him to take control of. But eventually he's gonna have to try to just go through the front door in the northwestern portion of Charlie and do some sort of like big infantry tank push to take it. But no, I think Fantyx, he's really focused on just trying to play the flanks here. He's got a pretty decent little strike force maneuvering its way northeast.
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna say provisionally. I think one thing that we're not really talking too much about though too is the fact that they're gonna be bringing in. In fact, I wouldn't surprise. We wouldn't be seeing another munitions truck over here from the 4th Mont to maybe kind of come over here, refill the Mi-24P, the Mi-24D, get those guys back up to a battle-ready status. And MiG-21, that MiG-21 hasn't done anything, has it? No, he's still got bombs.
It's just a threat of bombs. It's the implication of being bombed, Khan.
It's a very, very dangerous implication to be sure. We see that Mirage in the meantime comes in, gets almost blown in the sky immediately. I never really get to appreciate how fantastic those Cubs are. But man,
Yes.
those little guys got claws.
They do, and they're very cost effective for 80 points. They may not be super accurate, but when you have some veterancy slapped on those bad boys, and a supply truck keeping them well armed, they can be a big threat. Those missiles will eventually hit.
Of course, like you said, the biggest issue over here is that you actually have to have some kind of support with them. 40% isn't going to do a whole lot here. I do want to make a quick call out. Charlie push has begun. Superiors had moved in. Unfortunately, they came in just to have the SPWs being in that same area. They just started obliterating the double machine guns that they got, the 7.62s and the 14.5s.
It's just coming down to, effective use of fire support here. And like I said, you can't just do a southern push because you don't have that fire support to back you up. You really need to try and bring in some tanks from the northwestern side so you can start competing against these T-55s and BTR-70s.
The thing is that he's trying to make sure that those MiG-21s don't even remotely go and show their faces. Triple Mistral to the south of Charlie, double Mistral to the west of Charlie. I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit of much of a overinvestment here. Quick thing, up to the north, we have an AMX going CP sniping.
Of course, it wouldn't be a 5th tank without the AMX-10 trying to go around a flank and bag himself a trophy or two.
I wonder, because he wouldn't have to gone right by the MI2. I wonder if the MI2 actually knows.
I wonder too. I mean, the matches like this, you can just not pick up on these things, but he's gonna pick up on it very quickly as the CV does go down, and that is going to give Fantyx a little bit of breathing room, but only temporarily.
A little bit of breathing room, yes, but his Charlie strike is completely, totally gone. The Grenadier Voltigeurs are getting just absolutely shellacked. You're thrown over here to the west, one going down. In fact, there's one squad that's got a couple of wounded already. And the SPWs are hot on their tail, so I would not be surprised to see this guy go down. And then what's between them and really everything else to the west? Well, a single AMX 30 being rushed to the front.
Yeah, it's a very costly push here as he's losing all his infantry, and as he gave Matrin a very good foothold into that southern end of Charlie. And yeah, it's once again like he's done a little bit of probing down south, he's done a little bit of probing up north, but there's nothing hasn't been a concentrated push from him.
And that's the interesting thing to me. Is I get the feeling sometimes that Fantyx is having a little bit of a personality kind of issue here. That to him is kind of like, where do I really want to go and engage? Amex is behind the lines. Weber over here is going to go and get a couple more kills before he does go down, but go down he shall soon enough. But I feel like Fantyx doesn't really know where he wants to be aggressive, and I think that's what's kind of really causing a big issue here for him.
Yeah, I mean, we usually talk about like tunnel vision being a very big issue for players. You know, you just keep pushing one side and you're losing. But I think Fantyx is having the opposite issue of tunnel vision here, where you just can't even pick a tunnel to go in first. So he was pushing a bit into Charlie, to be fair, but it didn't feel committed.
No, it did not. Mirage, in the meantime, he's going to try to go and extend his flight. He's probably going to get away here. Despite the fact that he's absolutely just wounded like crazy. Up, never mind, MiG-29. I don't think he's going to have the burn on this.
No.
No. So, a lot of choppers getting taken over here for the Russians. Excuse me, the Germans. I see red and I think Russian. But they're German collaborators, let's call them. The East German allies, but a lot of helicopters going down. In fact, I don't know that there's really all that many left.
The Heinz?
The Hinds, no, I think they're kind of showing their hind quarters.
I think he still has these decent little strike force up north. I think he can get one or two left. So he's not in a terrible position. I mean, the main thing he just has Charlie so bloody. What a fight! There's mod shootings in like every 100 meters or so. It's going to be very hard for Fantyx to push him out. And of course, with the French, I mean, you don't really get any rocket artillery. It can be a bit of a pain to rout out infantry in the indirect manner. And in Charlie, it is very much an area which is just asking to get artillery.
I mean, to me at that point, I'm bringing in mortars. I'm bringing all the 120s I have and just start just pounding everything.
That's pretty much what he's going to have to do. Or he's going to have to try and commit onto either a north or southern push. I think south would probably work better for him into Echo, just due to the geography of it. I mean, don't want to really push himself into another, you know, meat-grindy town fight up north in Alpha here.
MiG-21 gets bombs off down south. Doesn't even get touched. Mistrals don't actually be the ones to take him out. In fact, I think that was the DCA, the Roland. So the Mistrals not getting a lot of usage, despite the fact that I really thought they would set up a really interesting air interdiction region. But I was quite incorrect there. Yeah, you know, it's interesting that they made the comment they moved from the south and kind of swing it around to the northern side. You know, Two Ways doesn't have a whole lot of attack paths. Easy attack paths, that is. But I feel like there's enough, you know, line of sight blockers and a lot of kind of mini channels. Yeah, I think you're right. I think a to north push is a lot better than north to south.
Yeah. Yeah, we're just seeing really just a build up. Honestly, Khan, once again, I think we could take this to a times 2.
Okay, let's do that at 16, let's say 40, sir.
That's good.
All right. And times 2. So, folks, as we're kind of, you know, increasing the speed on this for a second, I think what we're ending up seeing here is a little bit, we kind of touched on this back in Tuesday match. Jeez, the Mirage is just getting a lot of kills here. He takes out the MiG as well. Yeah, geez, the Mirage is owning the air at the moment.
He is. He's an absolute mirage of the skies. Good God.
Oh, he's going to get away in the meantime. You know, one of the things, especially that we're kind of seeing here, I think, especially the fact that since this is game 5 of the semis, is that both players were really kind of getting tired from the mental side of that game. We're going to see a push over here into Charlie, but this is stillborn. This isn't going to go anywhere, unfortunately, for them.
Yeah, it's this frontline rule of, well, angry Germans or flamethrowers, you know, harking back to the World War II days. Should be enough to hold it. I mean, you got an AMX-13 here, but it was more tutored with an RPG. You can just roll up and say hello. Treat it like a game of Battlefield.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's actually drawing another wave of troops over here. So, as if it was like one of those, you know, computer opponents you're going to see in like the StarCraft missions, like from a billion years ago. You've killed the first wave. Okay, the second wave activates immediately and goes on in. I think we're really seeing that happen. AMX-30's desperate trying to get in, with the pair of flamers trying to do their thing. But T-55s concurs, Motschützen. Yeah, I mean, say what you want to. This is a defense that you're not breaking without a significant loss.
Yeah, he'd either need to drop some smoke to deter those ATGMs from shooting him, or just have enough tanks to, well, win this firefight. He will kill the T-55 And the Concourse is out of ammo, so he does have an opportunity here to push on up, and push on up he shall.
As all the infantry now descends upon him like 1,000, the 1,000 nations of the Persian Empire. Yes, they're going to take grievous losses, but again, look at the points difference. The Mottschützenführer are getting pounded into next week, but he doesn't have to win. He just has to survive.
Yeah, and... No, go ahead, sorry.
No, I was going to say, even if he does go down, he gets the +1 from his own territory, so who cares?
Yeah, and Matrin has such a huge point advantage already. Fantyx really needs, like, he would need to go into Bravo at this point if he wants to win the match. He has to full send it.
And I don't know that he's going to be able to do that. It is a +3 has gone down to zeros here. But that, I think, is more a function of not if he's going to win, but rather when. We're going to see another kind of BTR being rushed here back to Charlie. Just look at those last little kind of cheeky points, which makes perfect sense.
And you see, without any anti-air, backing up the outpost, this Mi-24 is going to come in and do a decent amount of damage. Or finally the Roland 2 is rolling on through. And also seeing a bit of a push down south into Delta as well.
We're still out of range. Mirage, in the meantime, this guy has been the king of this battlefield.
Yeah.
Like, truly, truly stellar.
It's like a bloody Ace Combat mission for him.
Yeah, exactly.
Spamming that flares button and flying right over. All he's hearing is missile, 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 missile.
Well, and for good reason, it looks like. BTR is going to try to go and sneak in. He's probably going to find himself getting killed very, very quickly. There's nothing else here to protect him. He goes down.
And we are seeing Fantyx here finally managed to get some good trades. And look, he is rushing an IFE up into Alpha. He should be able to get, or Bravo, my bad. He should be able to get a CV snipe. And he really needs to get a CV into Charlie in, because he should give him a very nice +5. And he needs all the pluses he can get at this point.
He does. The same way, actually, my 21 completely whiffs.
Just can't have anything yet. But no, it's as good as we saw once Fantyx managed to put his forces together. I mean, that's a very costly push. Those AMX-30s, backed up with French infantry, are deadly, as you can see. Like, AMX-30s are so good because they have that multi-use autocannon as well as a good anti-tank cannon.
True. True. We see right now, he's picked up the middle? No, he actually lost the middle immediately. They just got to bring another one right back in.
Unfortunately, I think it's going to be just a little bit too late here for Fantyx. It's going to come down to the points, and he is getting good territory, and he's starting to gain an all-important momentum, but Matrin can just buy for time.
Yeah, exactly. And the AMXs, as they get thrown in one after another, yes, they're going to be good for enough for now, and I think that's the important thing, is they're good enough. And I don't think... Yeah, I don't think there's going to be enough here. The AMXs, as soon as they go down, that's great. That's cool. That's exactly what you need. I'll sacrifice T-55 to take out 2 of your AMXs any day of the week and twice on Saturday.
Those AMXs are going down very quickly here because Matrin just has beefy defenses on the flanks still, at least. I mean, the center point of the map is pretty much gone. He has managed to reinforce Bravo, which is your all-important point. Yeah, it's going to come down to Fantyx getting the CV into Charlie, which will give him a nice +3, but he's going to need much more than a +3.
If there's one more Schützen behind the lines as well, he's going to go... Look at these orders like for him. This is the order move of, I am desperate to try to find what the heck is going on here.
A bloody stealth game guard. Just going all around the location trying to find the intruder.
Oh, absolutely. But the funny thing here is that if you want to go map this out, Fantyx cannot lose a single CP at all, because he needs every single point out of this.
Yes.
He's going to get 200 points basically a minute. Let's call it roughly 200 points a minute. And he's got 4 minutes to go. I don't think he's got the time for this.
No, he's going to need to get some very lucky CV snipes, which probably that's not going to happen. I think that's what he's trying to do with that Jaguar. But yeah, the CV is actually much more leading from the front here, which is to Matrin's benefit.
Well, the other thing too is that we have the Forschmega Sprengtaucher over here who was able to pick up the other CV in the meantime. So there's no kind of
Oh,
success here in the meantime. Mott shoots in BTR. Well, I want to see him pick up this CP at some point.
yeah. Like hide and seek, but with a rocket launcher.
Yeah, I just want to reach out and just tap a guy on the shoulder. I don't know if he's able to get them in time.
Oh,
But there's full sense in every direction. We can actually see Mott shoots him being set up over here. Ooh, in the north, that's a problem. Another one goes down. But we're going to see full send as all the infantry gets thrown forwards. Everything gets kind of thrown in, and just a sheer attempt to pick him up. And at this point, Fantyx sees the writing on the wall and does tap,
yeah.
despite having killed more.
Yeah, I really do love towards the end. You could sense the desperation of him just trying to push, trying to pick up those points. I think he really screwed himself over in that like first 20 minutes of the match. It's been way too. I mean, we've kind of drilled into this a bit too much. I get it. It's game of 5. You're bloody tired. You probably just want to get it over and done with. But yeah, honestly, for Matrin as well, like very good job, just bloody holding that point. Like he bunkered down Charlie for a very long time.
That's true. And you can see some of the troops that bled and died and all the stuff they took with them. A lot of his setup teams, I think, are really unsung heroes here. Conqueror is just like doing tons and tons of damage. You have Klaus over here who's taking out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 AMXs, a supply vehicle, which actually was his at one point, and a VAB T20. So, you know, just a lot of devastating work. I do want to check out where's that Mirage? He's Morel over here, killing it, and everything else. Milan, that was certainly one of them. 5 air kills. He's an air ace on just
For him.
today. Jelly, Komar. No, I guess I thought that one Mirage was a lot more devastating than he was, it seems.
I think he was more devastating in, breaking the East German economy by making them spend so much in anti-aircraft missiles, which is one way of getting a victory in war.
It's true. It's just yeah, it's playing the logistics, and I'm tapping the logistics sign over here before we gotta call it quits to the particular match.
Hmm.
But yeah, you're right. You're right. Regardless, well done over here to Matrin. Taking Charlie, biting in and holding it, really, really well done. Unfortunately, Fantyx not able to pick it back up there at the end.
Oh.
Any final thoughts, sir?
No.
Well, folks, in that case, then, congratulations over here to Matrin, pick up the best of 5. Better luck next time to Fantyx, and hopefully, Matrin wish you well in the finals. Hopefully that goes on well for him. Until next time, though, for us, I'm Conor Work.
I'm Rangru. Take it easy.